take our usual kit, go see what we can find out. Okay. Right, we've got 2 Trane furnaces. And one of them not working. I think I hear some extra humming coming out of this one. Look at this. Loop-de-loop gas line. Let's open it up and look at it. Okay. Induced draft is running. And we have no flame. It doesn't look too bad. These rollouts. Well, the door switch got us. We got 4 flashes. So let's see what 4 says. Open limit device. So we were headed up the right avenue looking at rollouts. So the only other one, unless there's one back here on the door, and it's not the resettable type. Although, look at that. That's just dust coming around it. So, I don't know if the main high limit is the problem here. Alright, so I'm going to guess just right out off the bat here. That we have got a bad board. And the reason I say that is this particular board right here is very common to give that error code when that is indeed not the error code. There's a lot of dust in this mess, but at least that's only dust. So we've got the high limit jumped out. And try it once more. Okay. And we started out with no error code, and the induced draft started. I guess it's possible this one is bad. So in order to determine if it's the board on one of these little devices, just gonna go through here one at a time, taking them out of the mix, and we may end up just searching this down and figuring out how much of it we can take out at once. These we can usually clip off like that without shorting anything. We're not touching any metal. I think we're okay. Alright, now we're getting constant flash, and here comes the induced draft. Alright, so that tells us that this limit right here is the problem. And while that is an unusual failure, it has definitely done it this time. And see, as soon as we hook it back up, we get a continuous blower. All right, let's pull that thing out. Take our meter and see if it's showing open, although we already know that. And for that, I'm just going to cut the dummy beep on. And it's beeping. So it doesn't take much to create continuity. So let's go to ohms. .4 and 0.3. That's pretty much straight continuity. All right. So for some reason when we hook it up, we're not getting continuity. So that's a little bit strange. Dusty up in this attic. Yep, we're getting an igniter. So, I don't know why it reads good on the meter, but it certainly will not pass us through this way. It is now. Yep, there comes the igniter. So I don't trust this thing. I guarantee you it's going to aggravate us again. All right. So after fiddling around with this thing, I have determined that it is indeed bad circuit board causing these readings. So, it being a Trane unit that we are familiar with and that we work on all the time, we actually had the board in the truck. So, pull this thing off of here real quick. And that squeaking is for the birds. One thing I learned a long time ago, you can save yourself some trouble by just noticing how the low voltage wires are connected, because as logical as some of us may like to be, someone else may have hooked some funny colors up. And on the 2-wire, it's pretty hard to mix that up because it's just 2, but they use blue and yellow, and I'm not going to say most, but I'm going to say a lot of people use red and white going outside. And if there's something I can do to find this doggone squeak and make it quit, you better believe I'm going to do it. Because I don't like it, but I don't think I'm going to stop it. If I had me another zip screw, I'd stick one in there. I sure would. Put something behind that one. All right, let's get this thing off. All right, everybody's seen me change enough boards, so we don't need to do that again. So I went ahead and changed it out. These are all real easy to change. And just like always, I'm gonna go ahead and hook a jumper to my red, and I'm just gonna test these functions of this board. Here's the circulating fan. And I'm just going to test the heat. And make sure it comes on. Make sure we don't get that same high limit problem. But that's a common trait with that particular board. And I see the through the igniter. Got ignition. Let's not let it get hot. I'll go ahead and let this thing time out. And then we'll go ahead and put the thermostat wires back on it. But just as my first inclining was, it was actually not a high limit, it was the board. And that's something after you check one or two of your high limits, and then you get one intermittently that seems to make it work or not work. That's just opening and closing the circuit. This will eventually mess with the board enough. I don't see anything burned on the back of it or anything. I really don't see any sign physically. None of these little resistors look bad at all. And it's possible this little electrolytic capacitor has something to do with it. This chip right here could have something to do with it. Those little ceramic discs, I don't know if those possibly, that might not be a ceramic disc capacitor, I'm not sure what that is. But regardless, that is a common trait of these boards, especially if they got a little bit of age on them. They'll start falsely giving you the high limit error. So, all right, I think everything's good with this board. I'm gonna hook the thermostat wire. All right, it's fired up. We got the thermostat wires right back like they were. That tape right there on that door switch. So for those of you that love to comment that I forgot to take it off, no, I didn't forget to take it off. When I tape a door switch, it stays taped. It's just what I do. Tell you what I hated, that squeak right there. So hopefully this doesn't start making noise and some new symptom come along after we've worked at it. That's something for the newer techs to keep in mind, is while you may not be getting paid for any little extra stuff you do, you could end up getting the blame for it. So it might be a good idea to grab a zip screw, put it right through there. It's not going to hurt anything on the other side here, and that'll take that away. And when you run into something like that, it's probably a good idea to do that, no matter what your boss says, no matter what you're thinking about. I'm not getting paid to do anything extra, whatever. You might not be getting paid, but you're definitely getting blamed. So anything that happens after you touch it, you're likely going to be responsible for. I'm going to let this thing run a minute. Go grab a zip screw and a drill. Take that noise out of it. And we'll close it up and go. Okay, so what I did is I added that bent tip screw down there, and I added this one up as far back as I could get here. And interference in my drill. You can see that. You can see that. Those really aren't hurting anything in there. Hopefully nobody comes in there to work on it and change an igniter and cuts their hand or anything on that. But these two screws here just being down, and now I can shake this, and it took away that noise. So if it decided to start vibrating and squeaking later, I wouldn't get the blame for that. So little stuff like that, you know, that doesn't really cost you anything, just go ahead and do it. Any little things you can do that don't cost you or the company you work for, whatever, anything extra to prevent callbacks is definitely worth it. But I think we're good here. We're going to put the doors back on. And, you know, if you're a young tech working for a company and your boss wants these untaped and put back, then do what they want. But this is just what I do. I don't think homeowners should be pulling these doors off and fooling with these things anyway, but we hope they don't. And I'm pretty sure we'll be taking care of this house. And one day we'll change it out. Look at that. So I think it was built in '06. I think the houses out here were. So we got a little more life here. Probably get another 5 years out of this, and we'll try to sell them one. Hopefully they stick with us. But the new board's got it fixed. Okay. Now I know that you northern guys and you guys that work for union and everything, you're gonna say, why in the world would you go through the trouble to run nice black iron pipe, clamp it down to the platform, make it look neat, and then turn around and loop that big ugly loop of copper going right in the top? And there's another big loop on that one over there. Well, that's actually legal here. You can have up to 6 foot of either flexible line or copper or range connectors, whatever you want to call those, flex hose connectors. They can be up to 6 foot between the appliance and the shutoff. That's the code, the Southeastern Building Code standard anyway. So